Awesome. Thank you, Jen, for the introduction. I was not here last week, so I will go ahead and introduce myself. My name's Adeline, and just like Jen said, I work at the Hillman Cancer Center in research along Melanie and Kara, whose coworkers are both on the screen for you guys. This week, we are going to focus on resistance training for strength in our second week of Happy Feet. We will also be doing resistance training for strength next week. As I pull up the itinerary here, that will be weeks 2 and 3. And last week we did our Happy Feet assessments, just like Jen said. If you have not been able to, or if you were not able to join last week, please go onto the YouTube and do those assessments and then send the information our way. Once again, if you do need that email, I'm more than happy to say it or write it in the chat. Just let me know. And then as you can see for the rest of Happy Feet, we have week 4, we'll do resistance training for endurance. Weeks 5 and 6 will be resistance training for balance. And then that last week, we will do those assessments we did our first week one more time to see if we've made any progress. Now, if you have not been with us for Happy Feet before, I usually talk for about 5 to 10 minutes before we all work out together. So just a reminder, make sure we have our resistance bands if you are using those today, just to the side, because we will use those in a brief moment when I'm done chatting. And then I also like to make sure we take a lot of water breaks. We're staying hydrated throughout our session when we start working out together. So make sure we have that water bottle or your beverage of choice next to you. Now going over what exactly is resistance training for strength. This is any form of exercise where you're using resistance to build strength in our muscles. So we're basically breaking down our muscle fibers and then they're rebuilding together again to get even stronger. This in our exercise form looks like about 8 to 12 repetitions and 2 to 4 sets for every exercise that we do. So that's what today's going to look like. We're going to be doing a warm-up, 5 different exercises in that 8 to 12 repetitions, 2 to 4 set range, with some rest in between. For our strength resistance training, this also looks like doing this about 2 to 3 days a week, trying to make sure we are not resistance training 2 days in a row or a day in a row. We want to make sure if, for example, on Monday, we do resistance training. Tuesday, we take a little break and maybe do some aerobic exercise instead, let our muscles recover from Monday's workout. And then Wednesday, again, we can go back and do some more resistance training. Similarly, we like to sandwich upper and lower body exercises to make sure our muscles get enough recovery in between. And we also like to shoot for about 30 to 45-minute exercise sessions, which is exactly what we'll do today. We also like to shoot for working all the muscles in the body so that everything gets nice and strong. So why do we actually want to do resistance training? We don't just recommend aerobic exercise. Specifically resistance training, not only for strength, but overall resistance training has been linked to a lower risk of multiple types of cancer, just like you can see on the screen. And just like we mentioned last week in the PowerPoint, physical activity might also lower the risk of those other cancers. And that's going to be combining resistance training and aerobic exercise together. So resistance training for strength can look like a lot of different ways, and you can use a lot of different equipment. We can use dumbbells. You can just use your body weight if that's all you'd like to do. If you don't like dumbbells or resistance bands, you can also use just some household items, whether it's gallons or cans that add some external resistance. We could also do seated exercises versus standing exercises. You will still get benefits both ways. And you can also use resistance bands like we will today and the next couple weeks of Happy Feet.
There's a question, Adeline, about sandwich.
Yes. Let's see. Oh, yes. So sandwiching, yes, exactly, Donna. You got it right. We're just alternating those upper and lower body exercises. so that our muscles and our upper body can take a little rest before we get right into another one. So for like today, we'll always do a lower body exercise and then an upper body exercise and then again lower body, and just keep switching between the two. Great question though. Now, a lot of people sometimes can confuse endurance versus strength resistance training. They're both super, super beneficial. But for our resistance training for endurance, we are going to do a little bit lighter weight because we're going to do higher repetitions. So for example, when we do resistance training for endurance, you may reach for that light or the medium resistance band because we're doing usually 12 to 15 repetitions and also a lot more sets. So we're doing overall more repetitions of exercise. Resistance training for strength, on the other hand, we want to do a little bit heavier weight. So we may shoot for or may grab that medium or the heavy resistance band instead, because our repetitions are lower and we're doing a lower amount of sets. So there's going to be overall less repetitions of exercise. So we want to try and increase the weight. Now, throughout the weeks of Happy Feet, I really like to use the rate of perceived exertion, or also known as the RPE scale. This is a scale from 1 to 10 that helps determine how hard it is or how hard it feels to exercise right now, really how hard you're exerting yourself. So for example, 1, you're laying down on the couch, you're relaxing, reading a book, watching TV. It's really not that hard. You're not exerting yourself at all. You're calm, collected. Now a 10 on the RPE scale, you are sprinting as fast as you can. You're running from a bear. You cannot exert yourself anymore. We want you to maintain an RPE on that scale of 1 to 10, right in the middle at about a 4 to 7. Some days a 4 may be where you're at and you really can't push yourself anymore, and other days you may be at a 7, and that is a-okay. We want you to be right in the middle where you're a little uncomfortable, you're a little tired, but you're not overexerting yourself. Awesome. And now self-progression is also something I like to touch on every single week at Happy Feet, because it's super important when you are exercising on your own. And also when we're doing Happy Feet every week, where you can know when to increase or decrease the amount of resistance you're using, or when you need to know whether you should go from a light to a medium band, or maybe you're having a day where you need to go from a medium band to a light band. So what is self-progression? This is where you are slowly increasing the resistance based on how hard the exercise feels using that RPE scale we just learned, or that scale of 1 to 10. In this table below, I have a quick little example that I'll walk through, going week by week of an exercise program. So for example, Happy Feet. This is our first week that we're doing actual exercises with the resistance band. So we're on that week 1 of the program, and you may be using that light resistance band. We're keeping the repetitions at 12, and then your RPE, or how hard the exercise feels, is probably going to be a 7 or an 8, especially if you've never done the exercises before, or maybe you haven't done resistance training in a while. The exercises may feel pretty difficult. And then we're moving into the next week of the program, or our next week of Happy Feet. We're keeping the resistance the same. So we're keeping that light band, or the 20-pound band. We're keeping the repetitions the same, but this time our RPE, or how hard the exercise feels, may be a little bit lower. It may feel a little bit easier since we've already done these exercises before and your body is slowly getting used to the resistance training. Moving on to that third week, again, keeping the weight the same because we're in that 4 to 7 range, exactly where we want to be. Keeping the repetitions the same. And then this time our RPE may drop even more because our body's getting even more used to the exercises and moving against the resistance. Then in that 4th week, we are going to go ahead and increase the weight, maybe increase it to that 30-pound band or the medium band. Keeping the repetitions the same, but our RPE is going to naturally increase since we're adding more resistance and our body's not used to it yet. But the overall picture of this chart is basically when the RPE decreases to almost out of that 4 to 7 range on that scale of 1 to 10, we are going to try and increase the weight and maintain the same amount of repetitions you did the week before. And once again, I will go over self-progression every single week in Happy Feet because it's a difficult concept to kind of understand unless we really keep at it. So now what will you actually feel during resistance training if you've never done it before? You may feel a little bit sore and tired muscles. You may feel a little bit achy. This can last from maybe the day after you do resistance training up to 3 days after you do resistance training. Because like I said, we're basically pulling our muscles apart, contracting them, making little tiny tears, and then they're rebuilding even stronger, which is why light walking or stretching after resistance training is super important so we can elongate those muscles again. You may also feel some just overall body fatigue from exercising because you exerted yourself pretty hard. And you may also feel a little bit out of breath. The next slide, we're going to go over how to properly breathe through all of our movements. And I'll also make sure through all of our exercises, I will tell you when to inhale and exhale. So we really focus on breathing through the movements. And then just a reminder to monitor any current symptoms you may be feeling, whether you're on treatment, off of treatment, you still may be feeling some lingering symptoms. Just keep that in mind throughout today's session. And if you need to take a break and we're not taking a break, you're more than welcome to. And last slide, I believe, before we exercise, technique with our resistance bands and learning how to breathe through them is super important. And it also helps us engage our core a little bit more, which will help with any stability. So specifically with exercises where we're standing and maybe a little bit more wobbly, making sure we breathe through them properly is super important. So if you look at the picture on the left side of the screen, we want to make sure we exhale on the hardest part of the exercise and inhale on the easiest part. So for our bicep curl, our arms are starting by our side. And as we bring the weight up, we're working against gravity. We're squeezing our bicep muscles. So we're going to take a big exhale, engage that core to help support the extra weight. And then as we inhale, we're going to lower our arms back down, relax our muscles a little bit more. And then again, on the right side of the screen, that V picture, when we're doing our sit to stands or our chair stands, we want to make sure we exhale as we stand up, push off the ground super hard through our heels, squeeze our muscles, and then we inhale as we sit back down in the chair. Once again, I will cue this for all of the exercises, so don't worry about remembering it right now. With that being said, I will stop sharing my screen and we can get into the more fun part of today's class, exercising together. So just like I said earlier, I will always do an exercise, a modification, and then at least one modification, if not one or two for certain exercises. We always do warm up, exercise, and a cool down. So we will go ahead and get started with our first warm-up exercise. For those of you who would like to stand up with me, you are more than welcome to. Our first exercise for our warm-up is going to be a calf raise to a toe raise. So for our exercise, our chair is either in front of us or to the side, just in case we need a little extra support. And as we exhale, we're moving onto our toes, squeezing our calves. Inhale back down. Exhale, bring those toes up off the ground. And then inhale back to center. I'll show you from the side as well. Up onto our toes and then rock back onto our heels. Now the modification for this is just going to be the same thing seated. So we're going to lift our heels off the ground and then lift our toes off the ground. Awesome. We are going to do 2 sets of 10 repetitions. If you guys want to follow along with me, we will get started right here. Inhale and exhale, squeeze the calves. Awesome. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you can't bring your toes or your heels up all the way, that is A-okay. 6, 7, making sure we have good posture throughout this, keeping our shoulders rolled down and back. 8, 9, last one, 10. Awesome. You guys can go ahead and relax. We'll take another 10 or so seconds here, and we will go ahead and do our second set. All right, here we go. Second set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, halfway, 6, 7, 3 more, 8. Awesome. Making sure we're keeping our eyes forward. 9, 10. Awesome. You guys can relax and take a seat in your chair. Our next warm-up exercise will be seated. All right, this next one, we're going to do a leg extension to get our quads fired up. For this one, we are seated in the chair. Our back is touching the back of our chair for some extra support. Our hands are on our hips or holding on to the sides of the chair, whatever feels best. And as we exhale, we're kicking both legs up, squeezing our quads, toes pointed to the ceiling. And inhale, return to center. For those of you where that may be a little bit more difficult, we're going to scoot towards the edge of our chair. We're going to plant our feet into the ground, place our palms on both of our knees, and we're going to push down on our knees as we pull our knees up towards us. Just like that. Just an isometric hold for 2 seconds and relax. So we push up and push down and relax. All right, now going into our first set of our leg extensions, we're going to do 10 repetitions. You guys can follow along with me. We're going to take a big inhale to prepare. And as we exhale, extend those legs. And inhale back. Awesome. That's 1, 2, 3, making sure we keep good posture up top, keeping our shoulders rolled down and back. 5, halfway. 6, 7, 8. Also, just a reminder, if you can't kick up all the way, that is totally okay. 9, last one. 10. Awesome. You can go ahead and relax and shake out the legs a little bit. And we're going to do one more set of those, another 10 repetitions. All right. Let's go ahead and get set up for our second set. Roll our shoulders down and back, eyes looking forward. Inhale to prepare, and then exhale, extend those legs. Awesome. 1, 2, 3. See if you can feel your core engaging as you guys exhale. So you want to big exhale and feel our core help stabilize us. 7, 8, 9, last one, and 10. Awesome. You can relax. You guys can stay seated. We are going to do some warm up our upper body. We're going to start with some neck circles. For this one, I'm going to start moving my neck forward to the right and looking up, going clockwise in big circles. If this is too uncomfortable for you, we can also just do shakes where we move our head to the right and then to the left. And we're going to do 10 of these circles at your own pace, going clockwise. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to move counterclockwise, moving our head in the opposite direction. So this is 8 for me. If you're not quite there, no worries. Take your time. These are just at your own pace, making sure we're breathing through these, just taking nice big breaths. And 10. And now I'm going to reverse my circles, going counterclockwise, making as big or small circles as you would like, or instead doing those head shakes if that's what feels best to you. All right, I got 4 more. Just take your time. And 2 more. And last one. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and come to center. Flutter open your eyes if you close them a little bit. Once again, just take your time whenever you're ready. Awesome. Everyone on camera looks like they are finishing up. I'll go ahead and explain our last warm-up exercise. We're going to do some shoulder rolls to warm up our shoulders and our arms. As we inhale, we're going to bring our shoulders up towards our ears and then pull them back, squeezing our shoulder blades as we exhale. So inhale, bring them up, exhale, round and out. If this is a little too difficult for you, or you feel a little uncomfortable doing this, if you have a port up here, you can also just do some simple wrist circles to warm up the wrists and the arms, just starting in one direction and then going in the other. Let's just keep continuing with those shoulder rolls. We're going to do 10 going backwards, making sure we really squeeze those shoulder blades together. Inhale as we come up, exhale around that. Awesome. And I got 3 more. 2 and 1. Awesome. This time we're going to bring our shoulders up and forward, rounding our back, bringing them forward. Inhale and exhale, pull your shoulder blades apart. And if we're doing our wrist circles, we're just going to start doing them in the opposite direction. We're just going to do 10 going forward. I think I got 6 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, And one, relax. Awesome. This is a great opportunity for everyone to grab some water. And then just a reminder, we will need those resistance bands. So I will go ahead and start demonstrating our first exercise and modifications while you guys grab the rest of your water and take a little break. Our first exercise today is going to be a squat. I know squats can seem a little intimidating, but we're going to take it step by step. We're going to start by looping the resistance band around our knees. So it's going to be right above our knees. For a squat, we want to make sure our feet are about hip distance apart. Toes are going to be facing forward, and our knees, ankles, and our hips should be kind of stacked in a line. For a squat, I like to have the chair right behind me just in case I need it. It also provides a lot of variations in our squat. So like I said, our feet are hip distance apart. Our hands are going to be on our hips or across our chest, whatever feels best to you. I like to keep mine on my hips. And we're keeping our shoulders rolled back, eyes facing forward. We have proud posture. As we inhale, we're sinking our hips back like we're about to sit in a chair, just like we are. And we exhale and stand up. This is the part that you can kind of modify based on what feels best for you. So if you need to sit all the way down in that chair and then stand up, you are more than welcome to. If you just want to slightly hover, you're more than welcome to and stand up, or if you want to go all the way down and tap the chair, really whatever feels best. We do have another modification if that is not for you. We're going to have our resistance band looped around.
Did you,
Yeah.
you may have gone over this. Did you teach them how to pick which band to use?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
But if this is your first time doing a squat or using resistance bands, I would definitely recommend the light resistance band. This for our squat, our resistance band is really being used to not really add resistance onto the squat, but it's used to make sure we press our knees out. So we don't want our knees coming in like this on our squat. We want to make sure we use the resistance band to push our knees out so they stay wide and we're pushing against that external resistance. I would recommend starting with that light resistance band. If that feels a little bit too light after our first set, you are more than welcome to increase that resistance. But for our modification, we are looping our resistance band around our ankles, and we're going to be seated doing our leg extension. So our hands are on our hips, and as we exhale, we're going to extend one leg at a time, lowering it back down. Exhale, inhale. We have one more modification. If that's a little too difficult for you as well, we're going to do a similar modification to what we did earlier with our leg extension. We're going to have our feet planted, hands are going to be on our knees, and as we exhale, we're going to push our heels into the ground as hard as we can, trying to squeeze our thighs and really press those heels in to engage our glutes as well. All right. Now to get into our first set of exercises, we are going to do 3 sets of 10 repetitions of our squat or squat variation, whatever feels best to you. All right, if everyone wants to follow along with me, remember as we sink down, we're inhaling, exhale as we stand up. Here we go. Inhale, exhale, squeeze. That's 1. 2. 3. Just a reminder, if I'm moving too fast, you're more than welcome to slow it down. 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Awesome. You guys can either stay standing and keep that band on, take a seat, really whatever you want to do during our rest period. We're going to rest for another 10 or so seconds. Just remember, we're using that RPE scale mentally in our head. How did that feel on a scale of 1 to 10? Making sure we're in that 4 to 7 range. And if we're maybe a little bit higher, maybe we need to do a modification instead of the squat or try a different modification. Or if we're on that lower end, maybe we need to try the full squat or venture out of our comfort zone a little bit, okay? Awesome job. Here we go. We'll do that second set. If everyone wants to join me. Here we go. Inhale. Exhale. Squeeze. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Making sure our eyes are looking forward. 6. 7. 8. 9. Last one. 10. Awesome job. May need to shake out the legs a little bit on that one. We have one more set of 10 repetitions. Awesome job, everyone, so far. We'll take another 15 seconds of rest or so, and then we'll get into our last set of 10 repetitions for our squat here. All right, here we go. If everyone wants to go ahead and stand up. Our last set. Here we go. Inhale, exhale. Awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, halfway. 6, making sure we're pushing our knees out against that resistance. 7, 8, keeping the eyes forward. 9, last one. 10, awesome. Go ahead and relax. Take that resistance band off. Grab some water if you are feeling thirsty. Our next exercise is going to be upper body. Just like I said earlier, we'll always do a lower body then an upper body exercise. And we're going to do some tricep extensions. For this one, you may need to go ahead and move to that lighter band if you did have a medium or a heavy band on, just because our upper body is a little bit weaker usually than our lower body. And you're more than welcome to move to that medium band if you want. Tricep extensions. We're going to take our resistance band in one hand, place it on our chest, looped around. Our other one, we're going to grip onto it nice and tight. I like to be seated on the mid to edge of my chair, making sure I have good posture, looking forward, shoulders roll down and back. As I exhale, I'm just going to extend that arm, squeeze my tricep. Inhale, slowly return. Exhale. Inhale. If this is a little too difficult, all the way up on your chest, or you have a port here, and it's really uncomfortable, you're more than welcome to move it towards the middle of your chest, or even down on your belly button, really whatever feels best. Because you can still extend your arm all the way out straight, even if you lower that top hand, okay? And the modification for this one is just, we're just gonna take that resistance band off and do that same movement as if we were to have a resistance band. We are gonna do 10 repetitions per side, and that's gonna be one set. Here we go. Inhale to prepare here, and as we exhale, extend that arm. Inhale, return. Awesome, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Awesome. We're just gonna switch that band to the other arm. I'm just gonna turn around so you guys can see me a little better. This time I'm taking opposite arm to my chest, grabbing the bottom. Inhale to prepare and exhale. Awesome. 1, 2, make sure we're squeezing that tricep muscle on the back of our arm. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Awesome. You can relax those arms, give them a little shake or shimmy, whatever feels best. Get the blood flowing. I'm going to grab some more water just because I'm talking a lot. We will go ahead and switch to that first arm we started on. And once again, here we are going to do resets. So whenever you're ready, you can join me and we will start on that second set, starting on that first arm. Awesome. Inhale to prepare and exhale, extend. 1, awesome. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. You can relax. And we're going to switch to that other arm. You can shake that first arm out a little bit if you need to. All right. Once again, when you're ready, we're going to inhale to prepare and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, making sure we're keeping that elbow nice and close to our body as well. 5, 6, 7, 8, keeping our eyes looking forward always. 9, and 10. relax. You can shake out your arms again if needed. And we are going to do one more set. Take another 10 seconds rest here. But if we want to go ahead and get set up with that first arm, last set here. Inhale to prepare and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, halfway. Last set, you guys. Y'all got it. 8, 9, last one. 10. Awesome. On our last 10 repetitions on that opposite arm. Shake out that first one. Here we go. Inhale to prepare and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 more, 8, 9, last one, and 10. Awesome. You can relax those arms, shake them out. Let's grab some water. I will go ahead and demonstrate our next exercise while you guys are grabbing your water. We are going to do a single leg press. So for this one, we are scooted back in the chair. My back is nice and supported. I'm looping my resistance band around the midpoint of one of my feet, and then I'm holding it out extended with my band close to my belly button, but not all the way in. Shoulders are rolled down and back. My opposite leg is planted on the floor. As I inhale, my knee drives to my chest, and as I exhale, I kick out. The modification for this, if this feels a little uncomfortable, we are just going to simply scooch back in our chairs and do our best to kick one of our legs out as far as it can go. So we're going to keep our hands on our hips, and we're going to just bring our leg out as far as we can, trying to use our hip flexors, or if we want to just kick it out and bring it back in, really whatever feels best. We are going to do 2 sets of 10 repetitions, but it'll be two sets of 10 per side. So we'll do 10 on one leg and then 10 on the other. I'm starting with my left leg, holding my hands here, shoulders roll down and back, and inhale as we bring our knee in. Exhale, push away the band. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Really try and squeeze your glutes and your hamstrings, the backs of your legs. 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Awesome. You can relax. Switch the band to the other leg and do 10 on this side. All right, I'll wait for everyone to get ready. Take your time. Awesome, everyone looks good. We inhale, bring our knee in. Exhale, push away the band. Making sure our hands and our upper body are not moving. 3, 4. We're just moving our leg. 5, 6, 7. 3 more. 8, 9. Last one. 10. Awesome. Relax. We'll take a little break, and then once again, we'll start with that first leg we started the exercise with. Just a reminder, make sure we're using that mental RPE scale again on that scale of 1 to 10, making sure we're staying in that 4 to 7 range, and we're going to a lighter band if we are on the 8, 9, or 10 scale, or 10 side if we're higher up on that scale, and if we're on the lower end on that 4, we are going up in resistance. You can go ahead and loop that resistance band around your foot for our second and last set here. Whenever you're ready, we're going to inhale, bring that knee to our chest. Exhale, push away. Awesome. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 more. 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. You can relax. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely feeling that in my hip flexors. You can loop that band around your opposite foot. We have last 10 here. All right. Everyone on camera is looking good. Awesome. When we're ready, we're going to inhale, bring that knee towards our chest. Exhale, push away the band. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 more. 8, 9, last one. 10. Awesome. Relax. Go ahead and drop that leg. For our next exercise, you will not need any resistance bands. So you can go ahead and put them to the side. I will go ahead and demonstrate while you guys go ahead and grab some water. Our next exercise is a chest fly. So this is going to be working most of our chest muscles, a little bit of our shoulders. So our first variation, we're going to have our hands linked behind our head, our elbows out wide. As we exhale, we're going to squeeze our chest muscles, trying to bring our elbows together. And we inhale, open them back up. If this is a little too difficult or you have some limited range of motion in your shoulders, we can either do fingertips behind our ears, if that feels a little bit better, or we can just do our arms out kind of in a goalpost or like a W. This one, we are just going to do the same exact motion, squeezing our chest muscles, bringing our elbows in. As we exhale, inhale, opening them back up. All right. Here we go. Awesome. Everyone on camera looks great. Inhale and exhale. Squeeze our elbows and our chest. Inhale, open it back up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. We're doing 10 repetitions again, making it easy. 5, halfway. 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one. 10. Awesome. And relax. Shake out those arms a little bit.
Adeline, there was a request to see this one from the side.
Yeah, of course, of course. We can do our next, I'll do my next set from the side. We'll take a little bit more rest here. And we only got one more set of these, so 10 reps, and then one last exercise, and then we go into our stretches. Awesome. If you guys want to go ahead and get set up for our second set here. Elbows out wide. And as we exhale, squeeze our chest, bring our elbows. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, halfway. 6, 7, 8, making sure we're breathing through the movement. 9, last one. 10, awesome, and relax. Shake out those arms. I definitely felt that a little on my shoulders too. We got one last exercise, so everyone let's grab some water if you haven't already. I will demonstrate our last exercise, which is going to be seated clamshells. I will first show this one from the side and then head on as well, just because this one can be a little bit tricky to make sure you get the movement 100% correctly. We have our resistance band looped around the tops of our knees. Our feet are together, our knees are together. This is how we start the movement. I'm also going to be scooted a little bit towards the edge of my seat so I can get some more range of motion in my hips. I like to keep my hands on my hips, shoulders roll back. As I exhale, I'm going to drop my knees out wide, squeezing the sides of my glutes and also my hip flexors, and then returning back to center. I'll also show it this way, keeping them together. As we exhale, drop them out wide and return. If this is a little too difficult for you, no worries at all. You can also just take that resistance band right off. And we can do the same exact movement, really just going through the range of motion and squeezing those muscles. If this is also too difficult for you, no worries. We're going to have our feet together on the ground, starting with our knees together. Hands are going to be on the sides of our knees, and we're going to use our hip flexors to push our knees out against our hands as we're pushing in. And we're going to hold it for 2 seconds and then relax. So we're going to push out, 1, 2, relax.
Okay, Adeline, so our feet are supposed to be together?
Yes. And as you drop your knees, they'll naturally come a little bit apart, and that's totally okay. Just like the other ones, we are going to do 2 sets of 10 repetitions. Here we go. Inhale to prepare. Exhale. Inhale, return. Awesome. That's 1. 2, see if you can really feel your core engaging on this one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 more, 8, 9, last one, and 10. Awesome, relax. We only have one more set, our last 10 repetitions of exercise for today. And then we just have 2 cool down stretches and we are out of here. You guys have crushed it so far. So let's go ahead and finish it strong with these last 10 reps. Here we go. Making sure our feet and our knees are starting together. Rolling our shoulders back. We got good posture for this last set. We inhale to prepare and exhale, drop those knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Awesome job. 3 more. 8, 9. Last one. And 10. Awesome. Go ahead, take that resistance band off if you had it on. Grab some water if you haven't. And also give yourselves a pat on the back. You guys crushed it. Last thing we have are 2 cool down stretches. First, we are starting with a lower body stretch. It's called figure 4. Let me back up a little bit. Each of these stretches, we're just going to hold for about 10 to 20 seconds. We're going to take one ankle, bring it to the opposite leg. If you're unable to do this, or if this is a little uncomfortable, we are also just going to simply cross it over. You should feel a stretch in your glutes, making sure we're pulling on this knee a little bit. Feel it in your glutes, your hamstrings. And if we are doing our figure 4, we want to make sure we keep a nice straight back and just lean forward a little bit. And like I said, we're just going to hold it for 10 to 20 seconds, really until we feel a good stretch. And go ahead and release over to the other leg. Same thing here. Once again, if you can't do that figure 4, that's a-okay. We're just going to cross it on over and pull on this knee. Always making sure we're breathing through our stretches. So every time we exhale, we're going to try and sink a little bit deeper. And go ahead and relax. Last stretch we have. Sorry, I'm a little bit over time today. We're just going to cross one arm across our body, using that other arm to pull on our elbow. Should feel a nice stretch throughout your shoulder, a little bit of your traps. You can also just slightly drop that head to the same side. You'll feel it along your neck. And same thing here. Every time you exhale, try and pull a little bit more on that arm. And 3, 2, 1, relax. Shake it out a little bit and use that opposite arm. Same thing on this side. Doing the same exact thing that you did on the other arm, whatever feels best. Making sure we consistently breathe through the movement. Awesome. And 3, 2, 1, relax. And that is it for the second week of Happy Feet. Awesome job, you guys. Everyone that was on camera, Beautiful. You guys crushed it. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. I apologize we're a little over today. But you guys did awesome.